in the last little while, we left Alisar from the wrong side of the temple because the people there probably are going to blame us for breaking the whole thing. And unfortunately, at the same time, I ran out of anything at all to drink. Well, I mean, I had water, which I guess you can survive on in a pinch. We've spent the last few days walking toward Norfall and Thorum Falls to get a roof over our head and get some creature comforts that we haven't had since, well, probably since before Port Maverick, I'd imagine. Along that walk, we've had a chance to talk to Shadow a bit, Shadow being the elf that saved us from Alisar and is being appropriately mysterious. He did have a magic flask which has made my condition much, much better and much more bearable. But we've just found out moments ago that he was alive during the cataclysm, and it's now time to pepper him with a bunch of questions he will evade and try to glean some bit of information from his evasion.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. You did have a small opportunity to brew in Din's mum's cave.
That's true.
In the wolf den.
But I haven't had a bed or an actual meal, I think, since Port Maverick.
I think so, yeah.
And I don't think we slept in Port Maverick.
Oh no, you did sort of sleep in the mysterious house.
Oh yeah. No, that was.
And you had a proper meal there.
That was a proper meal and a drink, and we got into a bed, and then everything went terrible.
Yeah. So I think it kind of counts. Anyway, so yeah.
4 millennia. That means you were alive during the cataclysm.
Yeah.
Is that typical of your people?
It's hard to say.
Brieg decides to bite back his obnoxious retort. Can you tell us what actually happened?
Not really.
Because you don't know, or because you're being evasive?
Nobody really knows what happened.
Well, I do.
Really?
But only from one perspective. I was wondering what it was like, for people living through it.
Did you know Valcia used to have 2 moons?
You lot are looking for the other one. Right.
Brieg takes a second and tries to remember back to the weird out-of-body experience conversation he had with himself. Were there 2 moons when I was looking around there?
No, but as far as you know, you were not on.
Yeah, I was in a different plane, right?
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there used to be 2. One of them shattered, exploded, but vaporized? It was gone in an instant. Brilliant flash of light. Everything changed after that.
I'd imagine. Do you think that the moon was directly connected to magic in the world? Do you think?
It's hard to say. At this point in time, as you start to converse with Shadow some more, it seems that while initially he seemed very evasive, you're starting to get the idea that he's not really evasive so much as he is not willing to commit to saying anything that he is not absolutely certain about. Like, any direct question that you've sort of posed to him, as far as any of you can tell, he's been forthcoming with information. But vague questions and questions that he doesn't have an answer to, or you assume that he might just not have an answer to, he seems to avoid. He doesn't seem to want to give you any information that is completely, inaccurate or hearsay. That's the impression.
Can you tell me what the Darkwind elementals are?
Sure. On each of the elemental planes of existence, there exists two kinds of elemental. A natural form of elemental originally created to fuel the elements, essentially. But the creator, the Allfather, he was a stickler for balance. So he also created the antithesis of those elementals. One for each plane of existence. They're not very well known.
There exists a ring called the Stormcaller.
You mean the one around your neck?
Yes. How many other rings are there?
3.
What is there? What's the value of having all of them together?
None that I'm aware of. Each of the rings serves as a connection to the elemental plane that it represents, and provides some control over the elementals that reside within.
Is your order secretive? Can I ask you questions about it? Or rather, would you answer questions asked about it?
Depends on the question.
Have you found what you've been looking for?
I believe so.
Is it her? Gesturing to Din.
Not so much.
It may be the collective us.
So am I correct in believing that your order has been seeking out one of the godstones? I should really focus on my dwarven. It's been a while since I've used it. I don't actually speak it.
You do speak it?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. The Ocktrast, he says in a perfect dwarven accent.
The Ocktrast. That was my perfect dwarven accent.
Okay, Dwarven or Klingon?
That caricature of my people is offensive, he says in a completely faked accent.
Just a little bit racist. But the playful kind. Yes. That's no secret.
So you think you found it?
Yes.
Like, have you not found someone to claim it? Is that why you can only say you think you found it?
We never intended to claim it.
What? Perhaps claim isn't the right word. You know about Din, right?
Yes.
The tattoo and what that is.
Yes.
What is it?
Is that the purpose of the Oak Drast? To be... I'm not sure what the word is.
The secrets of the Yogdrast are unknown to me.
Is the location known to you?
I know of at least one other.
Do you
Is
know
that
which?
information that you can share?
It depends. What are your intentions?
Well, there's really not a more subtle way to say this, but we've recently come to the conclusion, or at least I have, that this little group has been chosen to save the world. And I think that the Ochtrast might be important in that long-term project.
He sort of glances around the party. It's like he's gauging each of your characters. And by characters, I don't mean your characters, but your
he's like-
character as a character.
Not like our character sheet pops
Our
up by itself,
moral
like,
character.
through our stats.
Yeah, it's like characterception right now.
Armor
And
class
that's-
16. I can take these guys in a fight.
The ruins of Flagra. An ancient monastery. Reclaimed by time. One of the Yogdrast rests there. Inside a vault.
Where is the monastery?
Far to the northwest.
You mean in the unclaimed territory?
Right about there.
Oh. Well, that's a bit terrifying, isn't it? But I think perhaps we have a destination for after we do what needs to be done in Thorgrim.
Do you know which one it is?
That's a great question.
I'm sure you'll find out when you get there.
We'd like to find out before we get there so we know if it will completely destroy us when we touch it.
That's not something I can answer.
Fair enough. I guess we hope there are good clues and we interpret them correctly.
Daddy, I was pooping, but I was pooping.
That's also quite a ways away. But at least we have a direction to go for quite some time. You were looking for like a mid-range goal, Eversor, and I think we have one. Right?
My name's
Immediate
Breed,
goal,
but you're right.
bed. Mid-range goal, incredible danger, and then eventual goal, save the world. I think we got this whole thing. We have step 2, and that's good.
Dirty again. I'm dirty again.
Yes, it's nice to not only have goals, but to have a specific direction to go to look for it. Thank you for your help, Shadow.
You're most welcome.
I'm sorry I was so distrustful when you first joined us. I take that back, I'm not sorry.
He's gonna say, don't apologize.
you were sort of terrifying and mysterious. I'm glad that you turned out to be alright.
I have that effect.
Well, alright. Can
No
we
other,
fast track
no other
over
points
now?
of conversation, important points of conversation that we want to have before you guys rest again. No?
No, I don't think so.
Rest.
Don't think so? You seem to have a tip of the tongue there, Harbeck.
I'm considering whether Harbeck wants to press this guy about the Artificers Guild, and I think that he's going to let it go because there's bigger things afoot, and he can worry about that later.
Okay. So it's rest time?
Rest time.
Rest time. Hooray, you've reached... you're on the river. You're about... probably here. Which is, like, right there. So probably a couple of hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours away from Norfolk.
Do you think they have beds in Norfolk?
Certainly.
Yeah?
As we discussed, there's a possibility that the Dragonkin there will blame us for whatever happened to Alisar
Oh, right.
and immediately imprison and or murder us.
Right. And if I'm dead, they won't put me in a bed.
Well, they might. You don't know their custom.
Right, it'll be kind of a short, wide bed that gets buried eventually.
Or a bed made of wood that they light on fire. You never know.
Right, one
I
of the two.
guess sleeping in the grass one more night is preferable.
I am curious about Rogar. I'm somewhat torn. I mean, I'd like to know if
Find
he's
me a
already...
crystal ball. Find me a crystal ball and I can look for him.
Well, let's hope we can find something like that in Thorim, I guess. Is it Thorim or Thorgrim, or is it neither of those and I'm just making up words now?
It's Thorum, and Thorgrim is actually a viewer. I don't know if he's hanging out in chat, but
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
is.
why I'm getting confused. He's right there. Thorgrim ZX.
yeah, Thorgrim's ZX. Okay. No, it's
Right.
Thorum.
Thorim. Okay. Great.
Okay, so it's rest time. Is everybody lying down and going to sleep? It's nice time. Sleep time.
Yeah, I think it's night time.
Sleep, sleep.
Okay. You're all resting, and
As we're laying down to sleep, I look over at Shadow, who I assume is taking watch again,
Mhm.
and I ask him, so during the day, do you actually go somewhere else? Or do you just disappear? I mean, like, are still around but invisible?
it's private.
He said he doesn't want to talk about it.
All right. Good night, then.
And everybody goes to sleep eventually at some stage. Din, during the night, and it's still nighttime because when you open your eyes, it's dark, and that typically means that it's nighttime.
That's
You
usually
feel,
how I gauge it.
yeah, you feel a gentle shake, a gentle hand on your shoulder.
Who
And
is it?
it is Shadow. And he whispers something softly into your ear, something that you don't understand. It's a language that you don't speak, but he whispers something gently to you. But you do get the sneaking impression that you're not likely to see this man again. And before he stands up and walks away into the dawn light, he leaves a bow in the ground next to you, and then walks away.
I'm gonna jump up and run over and hug him. And then let him go and walk away.
Okay. As you jump up and try to hug him, the sun peeks over the hill, and the first rays of sunlight stream down into the valley that you're currently camped in near the river. And he vanishes. Just disappears like he was never there.
I guess I'll go check out this bow.
Shortly afterwards, you guys probably wake up, I would imagine.
Yup.
Good morning. You are a couple of hours outside of Norfolk. Dinner's already awake.
So, what do y'all think? Should we go through Norfall and see if Rogar is there or alive, or if they have any word of him, and risk
So-
their enmity, or do we
Let's-
sneak around?
Let's consider a bit of reconnaissance, because I believe our good friend Tabarin can kind of look like whatever he wants, so if they have a description of Tabarin, he can go walk around Norfall and find out if they're looking for us. And then we can go in safely or decide whether it's worth the risk once we know what the risk is.
Right,
That's a good idea.
I can do that too.
Well, the two of you should go.
Is that the plan?
Couldn't
then?
Tabarin make us all look like anything? Remember that time when he made me wear a dress?
You were very pretty, Din. Well,
And
for,
we had more supplies.
for a
at the
person
time.
with not enough hair on her face. But by human standards, quite pretty.
We had more supplies at our disposal. Those were more mundane disguises, as I recall.
They were indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to, assuming that is the plan, I think we should sneak as close to Norfolk as we can and then cast our spells, because mine only lasts for an hour. I assume that
Right.
we're disguised selfing.
Tabarin's
Right.
the same then? An hour is all you'll have?
we
I
could
can
recast
cast mine
it.
at will, so I can.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. Disguise it will.
I can cast mine 4 times. So I have really up to 4 hours as long as I can find a place to recast it.
All of you, at some point during the morning, you're probably going to notice the fact that Din is wearing 2 bows right now.
Well, then,
Mm-hmm.
where'd you get that?
Shadow gave it to me.
While I'm looking at your bow, I'm also going to double check on your tattoo. Make sure that nothing weird has happened.
It's just the wolf's head.
Okay. Shadow left it for you. Left it for you.
No,
He's
gave
gone
it to me.
He leaves
Yeah.
every morning.
It's quite a bit longer than her short bow. Hint, hint. It's a long bow, not short.
Now you can use one in each hand, one for offense and one for defense.
That's not how bows work.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just pull the
Unless
strings with
you're
your
talking
teeth,
about-
right? It's fine.
Right? Is it dual wielding is like one of the things that rangers do. So
Yeah.
I don't see the problem.
Yeah, obviously.
Unless
This is
you're
why
talking-
she has 2 bows.
Yeah. Unless you're talking about the type of staff, the bow, which is a type of staff, then, technically, I suppose you could dual wield them, but it probably wouldn't be effective.
BOW, not just BO.
Yeah. No, it is B. Yeah. Anyway, the bow is black. It's a long bow. It's black, and it is, pale elf sized. Din's not a very big human, so
So it's
it's
probably as tall as I am.
yeah, it's probably quite awkward for her to use, or it looks like it would be very awkward for her to use, although she's not fired it yet, so you wouldn't know. But it's made of polished
I have to lay
black.
down on the ground and push it with my feet.
It's made of polished black wood, and it has some really intricate silver filigree running the entire length of the bow, which glitters in the sunlight. Dual wielding hand crossbows, yeah, that could be a thing. They're too
Din.
mechanical for Din.
Why don't you and I do some science out here next to the river while the boys go investigate whether it's safe to go into Norfolk?
We're gonna do what by the river?
Science, of course.
Oh, we're gonna put things in water?
That is one specific bit of science. We were going to try some other things.
Okay.
What is everybody doing this morning? So, I think 2 of you are heading towards the camp. And what is Harbeck and Din doing? Are you guys actually going to be heading towards the camp as well with them, or...?
Well, we want to stay far enough away that we're not... Like, our party's not made as the party matching the description of the terrible people, but close enough that they can come out quickly to tell us that it's safe or that it's not safe, and we can decide what to do from there.
So you're going to try and probably hide about...
An hour away, 2 hours away, some distance like that.
Okay. And what kind of science do you want to be doing this morning? What did you want to be doing with Din?
Well, we could play with her new bow and see if it does anything fancy or magical. And we could play with her new tattoo and see if it does anything fancy or magical. That was what I was thinking. And if you want like more description of what sorts of things we try, we can sort that out after the boys go into Norfolk.
Yep. All right. Let's do the Harbeck and the Brig and Tabarin adventures. The adventures of Brig and Tabarin as they head towards...
We're so good at never split the party. We're so good at it.
You are awful at it. It's terrible. Okay, so we're headed to Norfolk. You guys get to about how close do you want to be? Like, really close?
So I was thinking that I would, like, sneak up, like this kind of sneak, to make sure that I'm avoiding any, if there are, like, patrols out looking around or whatever, until we got close enough that I felt like I would have time on my spell. So, like, within 10 minutes of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll cast my spell. And
Okay, you get to about a half hour away from the town, and something is wrong. At this range, for a militaristic people
Perception?
with a permanent, township, as far as you can tell, this is supposed to be a permanent settlement, you would have almost guaranteed walked into scouting parties or patrols. This is a militaristic race.
right, I was sneaking for a reason.
Yeah.
I should have seen somebody looking for me.
You haven't. In fact, you've not seen a single dragonkin. And you've gotten to within about 30 minutes from the actual where the encampment is supposed to be.
So I'm going to look for a hill or a tree or something and try to get a better view.
And climb a tree.
Yeah.
There's not really hills. This is sort of flat land before the mountains. But
You described it as a valley. Go up the side and whatever. So try to get a vantage point to see if I can...
yeah, you can climb a tree. Roll an acrobatics check. That'll do. You climb a tree, and you look out, and you see a clearing in the distance. About 20 minutes, sneak through the forest. There's no smoke rising. Strange. Typically in a settlement, there would be smoke rising from cooking fires and warming fires and dragon breath fires because they're dragonkin. But there's nothing. There's no smoke. And you can't hear anything traveling on the breeze. Normally a settlement of that size will be quite loud, and you've been traveling through a no settlement area, so you would recognize the sounds of civilization, and there isn't any.
I think we need to go back and get
Yeah,
Harbeck and Din.
yeah, so I climb back down the tree and I tell Tabarin what I saw, and then I agree. Right, we should go get them. I'm not sure. Something is definitely wrong. I don't know if that means they need our help or if that means we need to whatever. We need to get Harbeck and Din.
So you're going to head back to Harbeck and Din?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Quickly.
Quickly. Harbeck and Din. What kind of science were you trying?
How much time do we have?
A fair while, I guess.
20 minutes?
No. Like to do your testing, you've got a couple hours.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Well, we should have her fire. You don't fire bows. There's no fire involved. We should have her loose some arrows at a
there can
tree
be.
and see if her new bow does anything fancy to them.
Okay. Dim, what's
See
your
if I
strength?
can fire this bow. What is my strength? Hold on. I know the answer to this. 18.
18. Okay, you draw the bow back with some effort, but it seems to give under your strength fairly well. The draw length of the bow is long.
More than my wingspan.
Yeah. Like you're not going to be able to draw the bow back to its full length.
Right.
But you do manage to draw it back as far as you could normally draw a bow back. And the tip is a few inches off the ground. The bottom of the bow is a few inches off the ground, and you do manage to fully draw and loose the arrow. And you're just aiming at a tree. Roll an attack roll and try and hit armor class like 10.
Okay. This is using my strength or my strength, not dex or dex still.
Dex to hit.
Okay. I don't know.
Just roll an attack with your other bow.
With my other bow.
Yep.
That will add all of the appropriate modifiers.
Get wrecked, tree.
Yeah. You put the
That's good science.
You put the arrow dead center. You're just firing one of your shoddy piercing arrows that you...
Yeah.
Shoddy
The
arrows.
ones I made myself.
the arrows that you made yourself. Okay, as the arrow impacts with the tree, Tabern and Brieg, you hear a loud clap of thunder, but the sky is clear. It's coming from the way you came, or the way you left, rather.
I go from like walking quickly to running because I assume that something terrible just happened.
That's quite interesting.
Din, you just fell a tree with an arrow.
Oh,
Well, that's
Harbeck. I've never done that before. Weren't you asking me if I could do new fancy things?
try it with your old bow. So this is how science works, Din. You do something,
Yeah.
and then you change one thing about the thing, and you do it again. And if the same thing happens both times, then the thing you changed wasn't important. If different things happen, then the thing you changed, you learned something about. So either it was you or it was the bow. Let's have you shoot again with a different bow. We'll know which it was.
Okay.
The arrow shatters against the next tree that you fire it at.
It was the bow.
What was the bow?
The,
The boom?
the boom.
I made the boom.
So you have a boom bow and a regular bow.
Okay.
Now, the next step is to see if the experiment's reproducible. So, let's shoot the boom bow again.
Okay.
About a minute later, you guys, who are now running towards where you originally came from, 15 will do it. The longbow of boom. I like it.
Shouldn't that be boom piercing damage? Piercing boom damage?
Well, she's still using the
Well,
shoddy
I don't know what it is,
arrows,
but I'm
yeah.
using my shoddy piercing arrows.
Once again, you hit the tree, and there is a loud thunderclap. So you guys that are running back, you hear another loud thunderclap. The sky is still clear. And another tree falls down.
Now, the last step is to eliminate the other variable, which is you. So, let me try that thing.
Okay.
Harbeck has a 13 strength.
And I believe you're not proficient in the use of longbows.
Maybe not? I
Not
don't
as-
imagine those are monk weapons.
No.
So it's pretty much just a straight dex check with your assuming that you can draw it at all.
So it's a dex check. The bow is extremely difficult for you to draw. So difficult, in fact, that you'll be suffering a -3 penalty
Great!
on your attack roll.
Bum, 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 bum. I am going to click which button?
I'm trying to figure out if I should help him with his form or just let it happen. So I'm just like looking confusedly at what he's doing.
He's also having to hold the bow horizontally, like a gangster, because he's too short. He's too short to have it upright. Otherwise, he would be firing like up there somewhere.
Harbeck knows generally how bows work. He knows that you pull the thing back and you let it go. I think I'm probably proficient with short bows, just not long bows.
Your
Not the
forearm
intricacies
is
of
totally
keeping
gonna
the
be
bit
ripped
out of the dirt while I hold this bow because it's so long. I guess is the difference. I'm just gonna click my dart button because it uses dexterity and is a ranged attack. Ooh, I missed the treat with the -3.
Yeah, so Harbeck fires an arrow, and the bowstring catches his arm on the way forward, and
Probably
the
quite
reflex of his arm flinching fires the arrow up and into the tops of the trees and out through the tops of the trees, and it goes. And about 20 seconds later, you guys hear a distant boom. This time, Brig and Tabern, it's happening like way off to your left. For some
Sword!
reason.
The boom is in the bow! Harbeck hands it back and clutches his forearm. Stupid. I don't know why you'd ever use one of those things. Does it hurt this much every time you do it?
No.
Oh, that answer. Yeah, so I assume that at some point shortly thereafter, Brieg and Tabarin, or at least, I don't know if Tabarin is also sprinting with me, comes bursting into the clearing, like
Hi, guys.
drawing his daggers, ready to defend his friends, and then gets really confused.
When I see him pull out his daggers, I'm going to look around frantically for what's attacking us.
Brig, did you see what you did to the tree? Didn't do the thing to the tree again.
Have you ever seen what happens when you strike your arm with a bowstring?
Oh yeah,
I
it's
used to do compound archery. I
Nasty.
it's
competition
a brutal bruise if you're lucky.
and a massive welt and
Yeah.
torn skin if you're not. You weren't lucky. With no skill and a misfire and a bow that was beyond your strength capacity and firing it like sideways. It all, yeah, your arm
Yeah.
is,
so many bad things.
My blood is coming out. That's okay.
yeah.
That's okay because we're doing science.
So is Din
Watch this.
Oh no!
Oh.
Harbeck broke the bow. It doesn't work anymore.
The balance is off because my skin's still on the string. As soon as she cleans it off, it'll be fine.
That's a
I was
horrific
distracted looking for what was attacking us, and then Harbeck was like, shoot it again! I'm like, ah!
image. Din knocks the arrow and drops the arrow off the string. She's clearly not used to this bow yet. She can try again, though.
Don't watch that one.
So, are
Are we under attack? Why have you drawn your weapons?
Are you not under attack?
Hey, we're doing science, lad. I told you we were going to do science while you guys were out investigating. We discovered that this bow makes things explode.
All right. Well, stop with your science. There's something wrong.
And as you say that, Din does manage to hit a tree.
She had to literally not roll a 1.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah. She hits an armor class of 10 on a 2+. She hits a tree in the center, and there's a loud, deafening thunderclap, bang, and the tree falls down into the forest.
that's impressive.
Right?
Not overly subtle.
Well, since when are we ever subtle? I guess you might be subtle sometimes.
On occasion. Then that's wonderful, but there's a problem. Not with the
Tabarin
boat,
arrives,
with
panting.
Norval.
What's the problem?
It's not there. Or
Like
there's
when the
nobody
house
in
wasn't
it,
there?
or like we were sneaking up to try to disguise ourselves and infiltrate, and I noticed that there weren't any patrols out, which you'd expect from a militaristic group like the Dragonkin at Norfall. So I decided to get a better look, and when I did, there was no sound coming out of the settlement. There's no smoke from cooking fires, etc. So I don't know what's happened, but something is wrong.
Maybe they're sleeping.
Brig, you've said a lot of words, but let me interpret the words that I heard. We can go straight to Thorim.
Do you remember a couple of days ago when we had this whole conversation about how I feel like we need to be more of heroes and not just run away from our problems?
I've blocked a couple of days ago out of my mind because it wasn't a good time for me.
Harbeck, we have to go find out why the people aren't cooking things.
Oh.
In effect.
What?
Look, these are
Who
these
died
are
and made
Rogar's
us the
people.
heroes? I want to sleep in a bed. Can we sleep
You
in a
stay
bed
here.
first
We'll
and
go
then
find out why
save
people
them?
aren't cooking. There are probably beds there.
You know who died, Harbeck? Most of the gods, some 3,000 years ago. That's who died.
That's a really long
And maybe
time
they'll
ago.
find-
People have been not being heroes about that for 3,000 years. Why does this mean that I can't sleep in a bed tonight?
Well, maybe you can, but we're going to go through Norfall and investigate it on our way.
Alright. I hope that they left their drinks behind. And their beds.
This is not the proper reaction. You're supposed to be concerned. Are you a sociopath? I'm literally telling you that an entire town of people are missing or dead, and your reaction is, "But I really want to go take a nap."
Brig, lad. Nomadic people are missing. That's literally what nomadic means.
This is one of the 3 permanent settlements on this side of the ocean. Permanent means that people should be there.
What? Okay.
Gentlemen, maybe we should argue about whether or not we should go while we're going.
That's a fine plan.
I'm going
Then.
to start gently guiding them down the road.
One on each arm as they argue across Din. Okay, so you're heading to Norfall, then, all of you,
Yes.
Yep.
following the river up. Okay, are you sneaking up towards Norfall?
No.
No, there's nobody there. That seems silly.
I'm not sure that we as a group are... Well, I guess we're better since Rogar's gone. We're still not great at sneaking as a group.
You're not terrible.
Some of us are okay at sneaking. We're just not good at spotting things while we're hidden.
I'm not good at sneaking while I'm role playing my character effectively.
I'm surprised that we ended up with an entire party of people with perception as a dump stat. That baffles me.
Mine's the
really
one. Mine's
don't.
not. Mine's a 7.
I
He's
just
good.
always roll poorly.
Yeah, I think we actually have 3 people with decent perception scores. I'm the only one that is really terrible at it. We just tend to roll it poorly.
I don't know. You got to stop rolling perception terribly. That's yeah. Okay, so you're traveling towards Norfall. You get to about 15 minutes out, and Brig was right. There's no sounds of civilization coming from the area where you would expect them to be. And as you get closer and closer to Norfall, you still hear nothing. It's just the sounds of nature, the calm running of water of the river that you're following up. Yeah. Birds screaming out claims of territory, or bird song as most people call it. And when you break into the clearing where Norfall is supposed to be, it is gone. Gone. There's nothing.
The house is gone?
The house is
Brig.
gone.
Nomadic.
It's just a clearing, but there is rubble, there is debris, and the entire land is soaked, swamp soaked.
Oh, I guess I wouldn't say nomadic if there's rubble. I was so excited to be right. Or at least to be able to believe I was right for long enough to not feel like a terrible person.
But yes, the entire clearing is soaked.
Earth elementals at Alisar, water elementals here.
Or lots of buckets. Maybe it rained. Just right here. That happens.
The river
doesn't it?
flows right through Norfall.
Yep.
And
Smack down the middle
are
of it.
there, like, there's a, I don't know if I have the right sort of info. I bet Din probably does. Can we tell if, like, the river, for some reason, burst its banks and flooded out the city?
The river
Is that-
absolutely burst its banks. Like, that's fairly obvious.
How recently?
so-
I mean, it's still super wet, right? So,
Like, there's still an inch of water sitting on top of the surface. And you're in a clearing, so the sun would evaporate the water in, a short amount of time. The interesting thing is that, if the river naturally flooded, first of all, there wouldn't be this much devastation. The river's not that big.
Right.
And even if there was mass devastation, a lot of the debris would end up in the forest in the direction that you were coming from. And you saw nothing before, like, the few bits of wood and stone scattered.
Right, and
Probably.
and probably there'd be people here, like, picking through their stuff and rebuilding and, whatnot.
Yeah.
The things you do after a natural disaster.
Yeah, it's like many things that you have experienced in this world, just enough out of place to be unnerving.
so if we walk for about 3 more days in that direction, something will be on fire. Is that the pattern?
That seems like it.
Brig, I'm sorry for being flippant earlier. I'm just trying to stay light-hearted, and this world is not particularly easy, and it just got a lot harder. I guess we can't see if Rogar found his way home.
No, it doesn't look like he did. Or maybe I hope he didn't. I don't know enough about these people to know if they would have gone somewhere else. I'm not sure that there's really anything we can do here.
This, I guess we could a settlement this size, picking up and moving. If they did leave somewhere instead of be swept out to sea or disappear or whatever, if they did leave, they'd leave tracks.
Right.
Even I could probably see the tracks from a settlement this size leaving. Let's walk the perimeter and see if we can see where they went.
It's a good idea.
I did a really good job looking for tracks.
You did an excellent job.
I did as good of a job as I can do.
Din is like, they're very thoroughly examining the perimeter of the camp. She's obviously worried about Rogar and wants to see if she can find
Yeah.
him again.
I'm specifically looking for Rogar's tracks.
You're like, did you find any tracks? No, none. Well, I mean, there were 8,000 dragonkin that left in different directions, but Rogar's not here.
Unfortunately, the news is even more unnerving. Din, you don't see a single track. A single dragonkin track leaving this encampment. Not one, in any direction.
And while we're looking around, we also don't find big piles of dragonkin corpses.
Nope.
Maybe
So
the
they're just
bird people
gone.
got them and flew them away.
There's no blood. There's no gore or limbs or clothing or anything that, like, it's just weird.
Just like recently ruined city mysteriously emptied of all its people.
Yes.
And no
You guys,
indication that they
remember
were
that
swept
time when
downriver.
Remember
Right,
that time
so we
when there
came
was a
from downriver
vampire
and didn't see anything
in a-
until we got here.
Yes.
in a house that wasn't supposed to be there, and then the house was there, and then it wasn't?
Yeah.
This is sort of like that.
They didn't leave foundation when that house disappeared. Look around.
No, I know. I said it's sort of like that.
It is. I expect the explanation to be quite different, though.
I'm not sure we ever knew what the explanation was for the house that wasn't supposed to be there.
Magic. Well, I guess if I leave it that vague, the explanation here might be quite
It's going to
identical.
be exactly the same explanation.
Very, very likely it's going to be the exact same explanation. Let's give the party some time to think about it, though. Because I don't want to go over time because I've barely slept. And I'm really struggling. So let's call it there. When we return next time, though, the party can discuss how they feel about this awkward situation and continue on to the halls of Thorum, if that's the intention, or try and track down or work out what happened here, or find out what happened at Alisar, or say to hell with it and head back to Port Maverick and just enjoy the rest of their short, uneventful lives, or whatever the party decides to do.
Wage a 4-person war on the elves of Thakon.
Yeah, or a one no more.
If we really want to never play D&D again, we can try that.
It'll be a really short war.
We can play D&D again with all new characters.
A short war. Because of a no short
See
war.
what I did there?
Wah, wah.
All right, if you're watching on YouTube, we need to do this bit. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. That's going to be the end of this week's session, but there will be more coming up in 2 weeks' time, which will be available on YouTube and on twitch.tv/LlamaChomp on Friday nights every second week, which is what we've been doing. But good night, YouTube. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Night, YouTube.
Good night, YouTube.